Hey guys, Pete here. Gonna do a quick video today about the Hound and the Lord of Light. Primarily talk about stuff that's happened in the past and his vision in episode 1 of season 7. So really no spoilers beyond that. So ahead of episode 3, I was thinking back to episode 1 to one of the things that stood out to me, and that was this Hound business and the fact that he saw a vision in the flames. Not because of what he saw necessarily, as I'm sure that a lot of people have been discussing that already. But what's more interesting to me is the fact that he's having visions at all. And that the Brotherhood probably should have had some idea about this already. For what it's worth, I think the visions are pretty straightforward. Outside of the statement that says there's a mountain that looks like an arrowhead. I mean, the wall is the wall and the castle is Eastwatch by the sea. There's not too much mystery in that at all. The mountain part and the fact that they added that frozen waves bit aren't necessarily clear. Like, they cut that out when he says it in the show, but they printed it on the website. But I guess the best theory I've heard about the mountain shaped like an arrowhead is the mountain of dragon glass that Sam refers to at Dragonstone. Now, I'm not completely excited about this, but it makes more sense than some of the other things that are out there. So it could be a reference to something we don't know about yet. And yeah, it's just whatever. For the record, I don't think that it has to do with Sandor's brother, the Mountain. And I don't think that basically because I don't think his purpose in the story is to kill him anymore. I mean, he's always thought that was his purpose, but I don't think it really makes a lot of sense at this point going forward. Either way, the fact that he is seeing visions is kind of bizarre. I mean, it gives him a good story and pushes him into a place where he becomes a very important character, and I'm fine with that. I mean, I don't have a problem with that, especially because of his being burned as a child, and this gave him like this insane fear of flame that he's had. He's been a certifiable killer and just a cruel kind of man his whole life for the most part. And so in this world, it isn't a bad thing when a character gets to redeem themselves. My interest lies in the ability itself and the Brotherhood Without Banners and their intentions. The reason why it stands out is because we've seen in the trailers quite a bit that these guys are going to be teamed up with John at some point north of the wall. You know, one of the biggest things that we saw in the Winter is Here trailer was that dramatic shot of Beric with his burning sword. So that is going to happen. And we know from season 6 that that was their intention when they ran into the Hound in the first place. Now, way back in season 3, they had Arya and Gendry, and they end up catching the Hound. And instead of just killing him, they give him a trial by combat where he fights Beric Dondarrion. So in that short bit of time, you know, we find out that they're still hanging out because they're trying to kill his brother. You know, there's that back and forth, that exchange where he says, you fight for ghosts, because they say that Ned had told them to go out and kill the Mountain, and Ned and Robert have long been dead at this point. We find out that they're really into the Lord of Light now, and Thoros has always been. Like, he arrived in King's Landing for that reason, more or less. He was a red priest. They sent him to King's Landing to recruit people to make the story really simple. When he got there, he was more into the idea of drinking and everything else, so he didn't do a very good job. But either way, he has visions in the flame as well. He sees things, and he's also been able to bring Beric back to life, which we all know about that. So it's a little bit odd that they give him a trial, which he beats Beric in single combat, and then he's free to go. Letting him go isn't weird at that point, because in their minds, as religious people, the Lord of Light has spoken, and he's saying that the Hound's all right. So my thought was, is their motivation because they think, or Thoros has seen something that tells them that he is important? Because if he had, and we know that the visions aren't exactly clear all the time, this could be a good reason to have him fight Beric, who they know they can bring back anyways, most likely. So they set up this trial by combat. The Hound comes out. Thoros brings Beric back to life, and that's their answer to whether or not the Hound is important in that scenario. What's also weird here is that he ends up taking Arya after she runs away, and, you know, they were looking for her initially, but they sort of just leave it go. Now, all of this stuff could be inconsequential, so I don't want to ramble on about it. But I do think it's interesting that he had this vision. We can presume that Thoros has had similar visions and that he may have seen some bigger importance for the Hound, which got them in the same place. Now, the whole idea of whether the Lord of Light or lore is real or not is up for debate. I mean, the magic is real. We know that because we've seen it. We know there's magic involved, like these are things are actually happening, but we don't know if there's a supernatural entity that's in charge or if it's something else. I mean, I went into all this in my Are the Gods Real series, so I won't rehash it now. But it's something to think about. If you think about it, we saw in the trailers that they were going to be up north. We know we've seen Beric and the Hound both fighting up there. We can imagine that they all make it there. So you figure there's like 3 Lord of Light devotees that are going to be fighting at Jon's side. Now, how many of them are actually going to live? That's a question. But it also brings up this idea that Beric has that kiss of life. And I've always been skeptical that he might use it on Jon because I just don't think they're going to kill Jon again. But there is the thing where maybe the Hound dies and then maybe Beric would bring him back. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that can happen when you have magic like this involved. So we'll see where the Hound goes with this. We don't know that he's a full convert yet, but he definitely saw a vision from what we can tell. He's definitely with the Brotherhood and they're headed north, so hopefully we'll see them all together sooner rather than later. All right, so please like the video if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. I will be doing the trailer breakdown for 4 later when it comes out, plus recap and review for episode 3, and basically the same schedule I did last week. So definitely set your notifications on my channel after you subscribe and check back because there's always new stuff coming out. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.